We're here at PAX AUS 2024. I'm here with Jamie. Jamie, we worked together on New Game Plus for many, many years. You're trying something new this weekend, you were kind of talking about it, but I sort of like pushed you into a little bit of it. What are you trying to do this weekend at PAX?
Yeah, so normally when I come to PAX, I'm usually playing all the video games. The video games are great, they're awesome, they're amazing. And then there's the other half of PAX, which is just the tabletop hall, because to me that's like, it's just too much for me. I balk at that. So I decided this, you know what? I've been doing this for 11 years. Why don't I just go spend some time in the tabletop hall? And to me, D&D isn't my thing. A lot of the board games aren't my thing. I really like card games. Like I dabble in things like Pokemon. I was a bit of a Runeterra guy for a little bit. I play a little Magic Arena from time to time, but it's like, what if I just sit down, play some cards and see what that's all about? That's kind of why I'm here with you guys.
So you dip your toes in, and obviously you've been around a lot of Magic, Self, Prospect, Don, Planeswalker Plus with Ellis, but you haven't really played that much. So this weekend we've set you a challenge to play 3 games.
Okay.
So that was going to be we'll get you to play Magic, we'll get you to play Disney Lorcana, and we'll get you to play Star Wars Unlimited. What do you think you're going to get out of it?
Honestly, an appreciation. Just like, I want to see what all these games are about. And like, how can you, like, Magic is, I dabble in Arena, so it's like, what is the paper game like? What is Lorcana like? What is Star Wars like? I'm just curious. So I guess what I want is just like, show me some difference. Like, show me what the wider world is out there.
Okay, so Jamie, you played all 3 games at PAX, all 3 TCGs. Start off with Magic, because you said you played a little bit of Arena.
Yep.
You've done the Learn to Play demo that they've got in the big hall. Tell me about your experience.
Look, it was a nice experience. Like, the people there were obviously very, very forgiving, very kind of, very chill, very kind of just like, we'll walk you through this game. And it helped that the cards we had were basically very easy to use. Like, the guy I was playing had a relatively broken card where it's like every time you attack, the other person gets flying, which is just like, that seems a little busted, but okay for a beginner deck. But it's like, no, I mean, it's nice. Like, it was just a nice experience to kind of say, like, okay, Magic is a game that's been around for what, 30 years or so, give or take? So there's like all these mechanics and all these systems and all these things. It's like, for someone like me, it's like, I dabble. So it's like, it's nice to be able just to go into a game and just feel like, no, this is all just straightforward, easy. Don't really have to, really think too much about like all the infinite possibilities that somebody could have. It was nice. And yeah, I can really complain about that.
I think that's one thing that Magic has done pretty well is they do have like evergreen mechanics. So stuff like, you're talking like flying, trample, reach, so stuff that's like reasonably oh, this is a creature that flies, it can't be attacked from the ground. That makes sense. And then you have the set releases where that's where they go ham on the mechanics, which can be a bit much to get into. Obviously, this is avoiding that. So you played Magic, you played it in person, and I think the closest game to that we've played today is Lorcana. So we did that at PAX Together Lounge. And they learned to play there. What was your experience playing Lorcana?
Well, as somebody who likes themselves some Disney, it's like that's some amazing card art they've got there for the most part. But honestly, it was nice. It was very, very, very streamlined. Like, it's not really a game about combat so much. It's a game about just kind of like, it's really about deck building. And I think, you can, if you really sit down and learn how to play that game, it's like there is I think there could be some wild possibilities in terms of deck building that I really, really seem to appreciate.
Yeah, they have the different, like in colours or whatever it is, that the different styles of play, but it is also a newer TCG. So as they always said, they sort of add a bit more complexity to it, a bit more deck building options. So that's something that people can sort of explore.
And I guess kind of the thing I really appreciate about that is there's no digital card, there's no digital game. It's like, if you want to play Lorcana, you have to, find somebody who has a Lorcana deck or just buy a Lorcana deck, which is someone like me, it's like, I just want to dabble. Most times, like, no, that's a level of commitment, which is like, okay, no, that makes sense. And something like this with PAX, where it's like, okay, this is probably the biggest showing of the game in the country at this point. I mean, you could probably correct me on that, but yeah, it's kind of wild to see, like, this is a really good way to get into the game. So
they've certainly got a big presence in their tabletop hall. They're sort of smack bang in the middle, a large area.
Yep.
The final gameplay, which I think is probably the most different in terms of gameplay, is Star Wars Unlimited. I think that the main thing is that one, you're not having your turn, then your opponent has a turn. You're taking action back and forwards, as well as having leaders. We played a game which had the first 3 sets, or third set that just is being previewed. What did you think of it?
That is a comp game was like, that is strangely complicated. Like part of the difficulty for me was just kind of wrapping my head around the central mechanic of just, you do not have one big turn like you do in Magic or Lorcana or Pokemon or whatever. It is like, no, we're kind of just doing kind of, little minor things and then kind of effectively trading like the one big turn, which is, it's a really weird concept to wrap your head around, but eventually I think after the first few goes, I eventually got it. Like, I mean, you've obviously played a fair bit of this, so you were a very good teacher. But yeah, no, that's probably maybe the biggest hump to me. Someone's like, okay, how do I wrap my head around? But it's like, once I kind of got used to that, it's like, oh, this actually makes sense. Like, it's fast. And that's, I think for a TCG, like, that's always a really good thing.
I think it's also, hearing you talk about it, because obviously I played a lot of TCGs, a lot of Magic, so a lot of there's a sort of shorthand you have going into a new game of, like I learned Flesh and Blood, I learned TCG Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited, and some others. You have that experience to draw upon. The same way that you would have playing most video games, you sort of know the basics.
There are shared concepts effectively.
Yeah. But I feel like having looked at through your lens now of learning a couple of games, I feel like going into an expo like this, when they have those structured teachers, even if sometimes they can be a bit faster as they've got a lot of people, it is a better way to play a game than maybe trying to turn up on a card store and just hope you get a friendly employee to have time to show you.
You're out of the event where it's like, you've got a good combination of people who know what they're doing and people who, like me in most cases, have no idea what they're doing. So like, you have the combination of people who want to learn, and I think for any kind of game that is encouraging. Like, you always want new people to kind of, just learn the game, build up the scene, and eventually buy some card packs. But
So trying a TCG doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get into it and go to a card store, but could you see yourself maybe buying a couple of side decks and having that as a play, or have you ticked the box, you've tried the games, that's enough for you?
Well, it's just the part where I admit I bought a Lorcana starter deck and 2 boosters today, so that's definitely helped.
So that's saying, of the 3 of them, Lorcana's the one you sort of connected to most?
Yeah, like, I appreciate just how straightforward it is. As someone who does appreciate themselves from Disney, because I'm a bit of an animation dork, like, the art is gorgeous. And yeah, I just appreciate kind of the pace of the game. Like, and hey, I like to build a deck. Seems fun.
Well, that was your adventures into TCGs at PAX. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you very much, William.